Hey everybody, guess who's back finally after all this time? I know it's been 5 weeks. It's been plagued with one thing after another. First, my back went out. Couldn't sit in this chair for any length of time. I stand at work, so it didn't bother me there. But being here in this chair, it was killing me. And after that, I got sick. Went back to work for a week. Well, I was working the whole time, but was working heavy for that next week. Then last week I just got sick as a dog again. I was off work for a week. Hopefully I go back and everything's okay. See how many changes we got at work. If anything news come up. So while I was off for a week, I had watched a program on YouTube called If You Can't Pay, They'll Take It Away. And it was a British show that I found out was played on BBC BBC 5 for a good while. I think up to last year, and it was premised during the time during the United States economic crash, and it affected UK too, and a lot of other countries. But theirs was more staggering. I mean, this still goes on, but it was even more prevalent then. But it was collections agencies, and what they do. And it was presented sort of like the cop show that's on television right now, but it dealt with what they call bailiffs, and I'll get into that more. But they come in, instead of collection calls, they arrive directly on your doorstep. I'll discuss more of this, but I want to go between some interesting differences, because more than watching the story itself, I was watching the processes. After you're watching it for 5 days, you don't pay attention to the story, the processes, and then the story itself, because all the stories are just about the same. I'm going to start with the United States. And as you know, when we owe a debt here in the United States, you can either be sued by a personal person, like a landlord, or it can go into collections. And most Americans have dealt with collections agencies. They call you, and they call you, your family, anybody that might be associated with it. They don't even call your place of work. They don't even care if you get fired. They want to make these harassing calls so that way you make the payment and stop them from calling. With everything they got, they want to stop you from calling. Excuse me, you want to stop them from calling, not you from calling. And once it's in that collections agency, if one collection agency isn't having good luck locating you or getting to pay, they'll actually sell that debt to another collections agency itself, thus continuing that bad mark on your credit. Now, as we know, once we go into collections, our credit score will go down here in the United States. I'm still looking for more information on credit scores in the United Kingdom. That's something I probably should have looked into more. Might add it later at the end of this, because I might not send this out right at once. In the United States, if you apply for more credit, or later on a little bit down the road, because that collection agency put you in a bad score position, you might be denied more credit to purchase anything, like a home or anything along those lines. If you do get credit, it's going to be of an extremely high credit rate, which isn't going to help you one bit. You could end up with 25% or above for an interest rate, and that's just killing you even more. In some situations, a bad credit score can get you denied jobs at places of employment. Also, these creditors and credit collection agencies can sue you for your money, and then if they win, they can have your wages garnished. Now, in the United Kingdom, they take it a bit differently. Over there, you owe a debt. If you don't pay that debt, no matter for them, it's anything from a small loan to whatever the courts might have awarded you. They could send it into collections. The collections will try to call and collect that money. From that point, they can hire a county bailiff or what's called a high court bailiff. Now, a bailiff, under their definition, is different than ours. We think of a bailiff as the guy in the courtroom, keeping the courts under control, the man that brings the Bible around for you to place your hand on and do solemnly swear. In England and Wales, there are a number of offices either formally titled or commonly referred to as bailiffs. Some of these bailiffs are concerned with executing the orders of the courts, generally around the collection of debts, and some of the exercise semi-official supervisory powers over certain activities. Those concerned with the execution of the court orders are commonly referred to as bailiffs, although reforms in the law in 2014 had renamed all these positions to alternative titles. Now, these reforms have made bailiffs the ones from the county courts that are trying to go out and enforce collections and debts and other activities. Now, the high bailiff comes from the high courts. Those are the courts that are, let's say, state level, or England itself level, or UK, I should say, level. They're the last straw. They have the highest power, and they have to collect and do these things. Now, high bailiffs have the powers and responsibilities of these bailiffs depending on which type of court they take orders from. They emulate the responsibilities of each court, county or the high court. I had one on. There's magistrate bailiffs too, which are civilian enforcement officers. They are employees of Her Majesty's courts and tribunal services, and can seize and sell goods to recover money owed under a fine and community penalty notice, and also execute warrants of arrest, committal, detention, and control. So they're the next ones up for persons themselves, pretty much. There goes my notes. That's from Wikipedia, in case anybody wanted to know. Now, if you have a debt and the high bailiff arrives, from watching this show, the high bailiff is allowed to enter your property, as in your yard, everything else. But if you were to happen to leave the door open for any reason, they are allowed to walk into your house without your express say-so, you allowing them, anything like that. And they can remain there until they get the money and or your property to pay off the collection debt. And again, the debt can range from services to a loan to anything. They will stay there. They can seize your car if it's not under finance. They can seize your car if you're not disabled. If it's a vehicle that's been provided you by the UK for your medical needs, they can seize it. And that's something else England does that we don't provide medical transportation by providing your car or the car under benefits. They will either get that debt completely satisfied, or they usually shoot for 50% from what they showed on the show itself, and then set you up for a monthly plan. But with that monthly plan comes a side agreement from the person it owes that they will come back and collect this, and this, as in your personal property. And if you're written up that way, and let's say it's your television, a laptop, and your old pedal bike, if you were to go and sell those things, you are going against the courts and direct order, and then can be arrested or fined for that. So it's pretty crazy. They also, if you're a landlord, you're serving someone a summons to be evicted. The county courts go through a step-by-step process, and most renters know this step and how much time they got and try to plan accordingly. But if the landlord were to say, I'm not waiting for all this time, because it could take up to 6 months depending on how busy the bailiffs are, they can spend what they said £60, which works out to $90 extra and go to the high courts. And once the high court bailiffs receive these, they go straight to the house, no notice to the people that are living there, and they give them 1 hour to get whatever they need, evict them out, change the locks right then and there. They are allowed to arrange 1 day and 1 day only with the landlord to come get rest of their items, but they're out on the street within that time. But most of them don't go back for like 1 or 2 months rent. A lot of the ones I've seen were 6 months. There was actually somebody on there with like 2 years behind. So it is a very interesting process. I know I would rather deal with collection agencies over the phone than having 2 guys show up at my door every day until I make some kind of arrangements or pay off the whole debt. It's just incredible to see that happening, to know it's happening. Something else that's very interesting, in their courts, they can, let's say if we don't collect the debt and it never gets paid off, and let's say you're either a person or a company, they can, after so much time, file you into bankruptcy against your will, which is something that I don't believe can happen here in the United States. That's something I can look into more, but they can force you to be bankrupt and declare bankruptcy. They can take a business and consider it insolvent, which is pretty much business bankruptcy here. But that's what they do. Here in the United States, it's a voluntary act. England, it used to be looked at as a shame. Here in the United States, it used to be, but not anymore. I guess they consider it that way too. It's not anymore over there. But that's another thing that can happen. They can force you into bankruptcy. But it's a very interesting show. I think I said it was, if you can't pay, they'll take it away. And I was watching a lot of British television this week. A lot of them too much on the, they call them documentaries. I guess cops can be considered that too. But they had another one, living on benefits, and how bad the benefits situation was getting in the United Kingdom. But then again, I looked up last year's numbers for the United Kingdom, and their unemployment rate's only 7% for all the United Kingdom. Most 5.5 of that is immigrants. As they said it, they didn't say it any other way, just immigrants. So they should be doing a lot better. The market crash did create a thinning, a culling of weaker companies that were just getting by making it, and it made a lot of job openings and a lot more for bigger business, which sometimes isn't right. Mom and pops are why bigger business happening. They started out small, they grew bigger, but it's starting to resurge. It's starting to resurge here a bit too. I mean, we're sometimes not optimistic, especially right now with the trade war with China. So that's what I did. That's what I all week long. That's it. I bought a Mini Cooper, so maybe that's why I'm stuck on the British television. I bought a used Mini Cooper. It's a nice car. It's a nice car. I like it. It's a 4-cylinder. I'm doing a lot better than I was on my SUV, on gas-wise, going back and forth to work. My SUV was only getting 14 miles per gallon. Right now I'm at 27.9 because I have that nice miles per gallon constantly registering on the car. It's a six-cylinder. Yeah, it's a 4-cylinder, 6-speed manual. I wanted to get back to manual so bad. It's a fun little ride. It's done good in a little bit of snow. I'll probably be looking down the road for like a beater 4-wheel drive or front-wheel drive car to take around in the winter. Bounce it off a snowbank, won't have to worry about it. Because I work late nights. That's why I'm up now. Alright, yeah, I've been slacking for about 5 weeks now. I'll put this one out, and hopefully I can stay on trend. I'm hoping. I'll see how we do. But hey, what's up with you? If you're listening, and if you're giving this a listen, Join us on a Facebook page. Just give it a like. Give me a hey. We're also on YouTube. We're on the Twitter. Buzz Nest Pod. Buzz Nest Pod. Hit me up there. So that is a little beginning. Bring us back. Alright. Hey, summer's around the... Well, spring. I should say spring's around the corner. I mean, it was raining buckets, but luckily I soundproofed this room enough that I can't hear the rain in here. And the microphone doesn't seem to be picking it up. We'll see how we do. Alright, people. I'll talk to you. This is Buzzard Nest Podcast. I've been Buzz. We'll be talking to you later.